relax and enjoy is gifted to us by our practice of Vedic meditation, because when we practice Vedic meditation, it is a wonderful exercise in learning how to transcend. To transcend means to step beyond. Step beyond what? Thinking, this isn't done, that's not done. I've got to make sure I've got enough money in my account. What am I going to do to get the money in my account? Because then there's this, there's that, and then there's this person thinks this about me, that person thinks about this about me. I'm having trouble with this person. There's this other person who's coming into my life. Does that person have any potential for being a friend or an acquaintance or maybe a lover? I don't know. I like to think about every possibility. What am I going to do tonight? Am I going to watch TV, or am I going to read a book? I really should read the book. Am I going to read new books or old books? Dickens I never really read. I always make people think that I read Dickens when actually I didn't read Dickens. I should read Dickens, shouldn't I? Maybe I should get on to more modern authors. Maybe I should see who are the Pulitzer Prize winners of the most recent decade and read all their books. Oh my God, I'm thinking too much. Maybe I should read something. Oh, stop reading. Let's get on to all that. This is your beingness. You need to transcend that. So you learn how to practice Vedic meditation. And that thinking mind, this isn't done, that's not done, I've got to go all this. My friends are becoming crazy, I've got to send them messages and all that. And then you close your eyes and it's still going on. You're sitting in your chair, and then you gently introduce the technique of Vedic meditation. It involves the innocent experience of a pulsating medium of experience. A pulsating medium of experience. We'll go into it in more detail if you listen to one of my introductory talks. And that pulsating medium of experience, as it pulses, it's an impulse of sound. And what it does is it takes on the quality of charm. And the mind is still thinking, this is not done, that's not done, my friends have gone crazy, I've got to make telephone calls, I've got to write Instagrams and blah, 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 blah. And then it's pulsing away, but it's more charming than all that. And it's more charming than all that. And as it pulses, it gets subtler and even more charming, and fainter and even more charming, and fainter and even more charming, until eventually a moment's reached where the maximum charm is there. And what happens is you forget to think all that stuff. The you inside, the consciousness, is beginning to be revealed. Who is the you minus all those thoughts? Who is the you minus all those thoughts? You start to experience that joy of just being. The joy of just being. I am the consciousness field. I am the knower. I am not the thoughts that I'm having. I'm the knower of the thoughts. And then comes that moment of silence. And then you snap out of it because the first thought you have is, that was it. I just experienced it. But you're not there anymore. Now you need to know how to curve back onto technique that allows the mind once again, through that innocent pulsing, to touch the deep inner silence of what you actually are. Practicing this for 20 minutes twice a day, which is our regime. We practice it for about 20 minutes twice a day, usually in the morning before the day starts, sometime late afternoon, early evening before we commence our evening activities. It gives you training in how to let go of all the chatter. It gives you training in how to just experience what you are and where you are contextually. It gives you that training. And that training, which you apply every morning and every evening, is not a chore. It's actually far more delicious than all that chatter that one's carrying on with all the time. The proposition is, I'm not doing enough, and so I have to chatter a lot in my head about what should the next doings be. Doings. Because I'm not a human being, I'm a human doing. Then you learn to meditate, and in meditation you discover, I'm a human being. I'm a human being. And so Vedic meditation gifts us with the ability to relax and to enjoy our beingness, stepping out of all of the incessant chatter into establishment of our own fundamental, simplest form of awareness. If we don't have the experience of our simplest form of awareness, all we are is, all our identity is whatever the most recent bundle of thoughts you've been having. And you know those thoughts change all the time, so that means your identity changes all the time. Your sense of self gets kicked around like a football by the fact that all you've done is you've attributed what you are to whatever all the thoughts are that you've been having. And that's not what you are. Thoughts are a doing. We do thinking. We don't do being. Being is just beingness, pure knowingness. A simplest form of awareness, that inner deep consciousness place. And as we practice Vedic meditation twice every day regularly, we lay down layers of that inner experience of being through constant revelation of that pre-existing state of being. This is what meditation does. It reveals the deep inner truth of what you are. Not just what you think, but what you are. And this is a it's revolutionary. It's a radical departure. Vedic meditators are radical. They're not, people who are stuck in having what they sense themselves to be dictated to them by whatever the demands of the environment seem to be. They have a sense of self and a depth of solidity of sense of self which allows them the grace of being able simply to relax and enjoy. And then you have it. I'm the universe with universal capability. I live inside of a body. Here's where it all is. Here's what I am. Here's what I'm experiencing. Now, let's take it all on an excursion and enjoy it. That's it. It's beautiful. At least I think so.